Coming up on today's San Francisco 49ers Report, a major and a positive Deebo Samuel injury update going into Sunday's NFC Championship game tilt against the Detroit Lions. The Niners also making a roster move, and Dan Campbell held a press conference today. Some takeaways from what he had to say about the Niners coming up at the tail end of the program. Before we get started, though, if you want some more Niners content, short form, but also me sharing my opinions and keeping you in the know with everything that's going down with this football team, give me a follow on X, formerly known as Twitter, 9,300 plus followers over there, and shoot me a follow on Instagram. My content there has been taken off as well. So just another way for you to get some more Niners content, and I appreciate it. Don't be a stranger. Slide in the DMs, say what's up. Always good chopping it up with the faithful. To Deebo Samuel now. Let's do it. Did not practice today at the SAP Performance Center in the shadows of Levi Stadium, but the good news here, said to be feeling better after injuring his shoulder during Saturday night's divisional round game against the Green Bay Packers. He was seen working on the side field, doing some running from goal line to goal line, and at times, he did carry a ball during practice. I find it very hard to believe that Deebo Samuel is going to miss this game with this amount of implications. One step away from the Super Bowl, considering the player and the competitor and the leader that Deebo is on this football team. And Kyle Shanahan, pretty confident that Deebo might be suiting up as well. At least I'm reading the tea leaves here. Kyle Shanahan saying today, quote, "Deebo feels better, and it makes me feel better about his chances of playing on Sunday." And then you look at this report from Omar Ruiz, Deebo Samuel working off to the side during the portion of Niners practice that was open to the media. He did some running, full length of the field and back, carried a ball with him at times in our small window of observation. Any discomfort was not apparent. And Ian Rappaport also tweeted and saying, seems like some pretty good news for San Francisco and number 19. There's also this article by Greg Bishop of Sports Illustrated, and within it, he was talking about how the relationship between Deebo and Trent Williams has really lifted the spirits of this Niners team, giving the squad this sense of confidence. And he said, a source at the team headquarters described the vibe around Deebo Samuel's availability as, quote, cautiously optimistic. Maybe even more than that, but nobody wants to jinx it. And here's why nobody wants to jinx it. Deebo Samuel is the San Francisco 49ers X Factor. Deebo Samuel is one of one. Try to find me a player across the entire National Football League that's as uniquely gifted and as unique as Deebo Samuel is just in general as a football player, who has the versatility to play wide receiver as well as running back. He can run a variety of routes as a wideout. But then Kyle Shanahan can hop into his creativity play calling bag, and he can call a plethora of plays for Deebo Samuel, both through the air, bubble screens, jet sweeps, reverses. And then we've seen at moments this year, you could put Christian McCaffrey and Deebo Samuel in the backfield. They can motion across one another. They can both run out of the backfield. One can take a carry. One can be a lead blocker. Deebo Samuel's ability to just be a decoy can really cause the defense a lot of fits. And when he gets his hands on the football, he is a threat to take it the distance at all times. And he just makes San Francisco incredibly deep. When Deebo's not on the field, it just allows the defense to not have to worry about the headaches that he causes opposing defenses, and they can center in on some of the other players on this Niners offense. And these numbers are pretty telling. We talked about these during yesterday's show, but the difference between the Niners' success with Deebo as compared to without Deebo, pretty staggering. Since getting drafted in 2019, when he plays, the Niners are 53-23. They've won nearly 70% of their games, averaging nearly 27 points per. The rushing yards up to 138.5, and the turnover differential. The Niners are just a better team, +8. And then without Deebo, they're below 500 at 8-9, winning percentage of 47%. Points per game goes down to 24.2. Rushing yards per game goes down to $118. And then you see that turnover differential go all the way to -8. That's a difference of 16 turnovers right there. So with this game coming up against the Detroit Lions, Deebo understanding his importance, his desire to be great, and the willingness and everything inside of him that drives him to be the player that he is, I just don't see how Deebo Samuel is not going to play in this football game. He's a team captain. He's incredibly unique as an athlete. He always shines the brightest on the biggest of stages. So when the Niners take the field against the Lions at Levi's Stadium on Sunday for the right to play in Las Vegas for Super Bowl 58, who am I expecting to be on the field? Deebo. Whoa. Deebo. Whoa. And if he scores a touchdown, yeah, you know we're going crazy on the watch party. San Francisco. Let's go. Now, this is why you subscribe, because nobody else is giving you this entertainment, these laughs, this much energy, but also this informative analysis. And when news happens with this squad, we always have you covered. So lock us in and subscribe. And can we get to 113,000 subscribers before game day on Sunday, when we'll be live for a 2-hour pregame show for our watch party? You got to be built different. We are, and that's why you hit that sub button. So we talked about Deebo Samuel, still to come, because we're only ramping up. Niners making a roster move, and Dan Campbell dissecting, breaking down, previewing the San Francisco 49ers. But first, if you want to go to this game on Sunday, there are still tickets available. And if you're looking for last-minute tickets, Game Time is guaranteed to give you the lowest price guaranteed. $20 off using the code NinersChat. For a lot of you who are thinking about going to the big game, if the Niners advance to Las Vegas, you can get $100 off the big game using the code Vegas100. So 2 different deals for you. $20 off using the code NinersChat, and then you can get $100 off the big game by using the code Vegas100. Again, still tickets available for the NFC Championship game, but even if you want to wait, even if you're undecided, you can't make that decision until the very last moment. That's where Game Time comes in, because they specialize with the lowest price at the last possible minute. They also have these flash deals with a simple swipe. You can save some money as well. You don't just have to go to a football game. You don't have to just go to a sporting event. You can go to a concert, a comedy show, theater event, whatever you want. All of this information is available for the faithful only, down below in the comments section and in the description of this video. To the Niners making a roster move here. Kalia Davis, it's been a little while since we saw him, had his first career sack against the Philadelphia Eagles in Week 13, and without Arik Armstead, he figured to assume a larger role, and in a limited sample size this year, after not playing last year as a rookie coming off a torn ACL, during his draft eligibility year at UCF, I thought he flashed a little bit. So the Niners here opening up his practice window. He was originally placed on IR after suffering an ankle sprain back on December 17th against the Arizona Cardinals on the road. And when a practice window is open for a player, you have 21 days to activate them to the active roster. Or you could just activate them that week. For instance, George Odom, couple of weeks ago, had the practice window open. The next week, he was activated to play as the Niners special teams ace against the Green Bay Packers. So with Kalia Davis, no guarantee is going to be elevated for the NFC Championship game. Niners a little bit thin at defensive tackle. It was great to see Arik Armstead back. He came off plantar fasciitis and led all defensive tackles on this roster with 46 snaps. Kyle Shanahan, even after the game, saying, I was somewhat surprised that Armstead was able to play that much because he hadn't played since Week 13 against Philadelphia. And he was dominant. He was really good at times. On that 4th and short stop, I thought it happened because Arik Armstead got a really good push on the pile, solid against the run, very good against the pass, played 46 snaps. Javon Hargrave with 44. And when you look at this Detroit Lions team, we talked about some of the injury news along the Lions offensive line this week. Frank Ragnow, all-pro center, dealing with the sprained knee, sprained ankle, most likely going to play. But Jonah Jackson, starting left guard, most likely out with the knee injury. So I would run a lot of twists, gains, stunts up front with Nick Bosa and Chase Young, allowing them to go up against some of the interior offensive linemen for Detroit, but on some of those one-on-one matchups for Armstead, Hargrave, against a banged-up Frank Ragnow, against a backup left guard. They got to have a big day, because if you blur up the sight line and the vision line for Jared Goff, who isn't a mobile quarterback, who always likes to operate within the structure of the pocket, he can be prone to making mistakes, and inaccuracies can lead to overthrows, batted balls, interceptions, and turnovers can really turn this game. Elsewhere at defensive tackle, the Niners had Javon Kinlaw play 20 snaps, and then the newly signed Sebastian Joseph Day, signed right before the regular season finale, even he had 10 snaps against the Green Bay Packers as well. Next up to round out the show, what did Lions head coach Dan Campbell have to say about the Niners? Nothing about biting kneecaps or anything like that, but he did size up the opponent for the NFC title game, and he's making it be known to his team that in trying to stop the Niners offense, it all starts and ends with the ground game. Campbell, stop the run. You got to stop the run, because if you don't, they'll rush for 250 on you, and they won't even worry about passing. Everything has to start there. Kyle Shanahan does an unbelievable job. He's going to work one side and make you overreact, and then he's going to counter off that and play pass off of it, and he works the middle area of the field. The thing is that even if the Niners really are adamant about trying to run the football, how is this Lions defense going to fare and stack up against the Niners rushing attack? Because these numbers, since about week 10, rush defense EPA, Lions are at number 3. Their success rate with their defense against the run is at number 5. But then their pass defense EPA is 29th, and their pass defense success rate drops all the way to 30th. The only teams worse there, the Commanders and the Arizona Cardinals, and Brock Purdy carved both of those defenses up. So while the strength of this Niners offense is running the football, it might be a big game for Brock Purdy to air it out, have success through the air, and get back on track after playing poorly for most of the game against the Green Bay Packers. More from Dan Campbell here. We're disruptive, we're aggressive, and we hit. That, to me, has to be what we're about. Those are the principles. We may get hit on a couple of things. I know for me, I'm willing to give up something to get something. Things may happen, but that's okay, because it'll pay dividends by the time it hits the fourth quarter. I think that's what we're doing. It's a salty group. They play hard. They're pretty sound, and we're competitive. I think Aaron Glenn, our defensive coordinator, he's done a hell of a job of mixing things up. We've got enough coverage versus pressure. We're starting to figure out some of our better pressure players. I think you can see our confidence going up. It's really going up over the past 6 weeks. And I will say that this is a Lions team that has improved on the defensive side of the football, and they play a lot of close games. And then when it comes time to the fourth quarter, they start to make some plays. They wear you down because of their physicality, and their defense ends up making a big play down the stretch. So can't wait for this game. I think it's a fascinating matchup on all fronts, and obviously it's really going to help San Francisco if Deebo Samuel can be in action, because he's the Swiss Army knife. He's the X factor for Kyle Shanahan's offense. Before we hop on out of here, I want everybody still watching to type SF down in the comments section. San Francisco. We'll catch you tomorrow. 49ers Report live coming at you on Thursday afternoon.